sounds to me like there's a lot of hands in the pot over there. Even the officer himself said he's never worked with that many agencies before. And he had a little disdain for the amount of agencies involved. He had a little disdain for the YouTubers, web sleuths, investigative type people. And I did take offense to that, because the conduct that he's discussing is not conduct that me or the team have partaked in. That's more in the lines of the Benny Keys type of people that have interjected themselves, that threw up many and multiple other people taking.
But 4 social media sleuths, as they see themselves, with big followings, have come to our region in hopes of uncovering some clues that investigators may have missed.
So they are here, 4 social media sleuths from around the country traveling here to Hawkins County to keep up awareness. Summer Wells is still missing.
Pressure breaks pipes.
They are social media influencers and investigators. Their goal is to make noise and get noticed. They say it brings attention to victims, but criticism to their tactics.
And any leverage I can use, whether I like what's coming out of my mouth, if it's leverage that I can pull people in, I will use it.
The investigation in other areas, which, as many of you guys know, I called out and said, this is not appropriate.
It's not surprising. It's not surprising. That home is on the mountain there, on the top of the hill. The Wells have a history of domestic violence. The Wells' son, child molestation charges. He has a bunch of criminal charges from Utah. The mother, had their children taken away from a prior relationship up in Wisconsin. It's bad. These people are bad news. Abandonment. My theory is they came home that day. See how steep that mountain is. Look on the mountain there. You can see a bunch of children's toys and stuff like that. Maybe she fell down. Maybe she was left unattended and she just stumbled there and tripped, and then boom, 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 boom. They panicked, put her somewhere. That's my theory.
My theory is a little different after speaking to the neighbors. So what had happened, she said that these people are violent. They're crazy. Because I asked her that specific, I laid that specific scenario down for her, and she does not believe it. The neighbor called bullshit on that theory that she fell, and she said that they would have found her body by now. And I said, well, maybe Candace got scared and did something with it. And she goes, absolutely not. So she believes that these people, because she hears everything that goes on from this house, she said sound carries. And she believes that Summer Wells was harmed by somebody that was home at the time. And that's why they haven't found Summer Wells' body.
You took valuable resources away from an investigation that was already tapped for resources. So while when we went down there, we did interviews. We turned those interviews over to law enforcement. We didn't send them on wild goose chases. We did not give them erroneous leads. We did not, call in anything that we could not provide them by email. We didn't give them, additional suspects to look at. We didn't do any of that. That's why I don't take offense to what that detective said.
He knows we're in town. He knows we're not playing. We're screaming up there, calling him a murderer because they are responsible for that child's death, and then they hid her body, trying to evade law because they're manipulators, conniving, cunning, and should be in jail. With them painting their house and stuff, it makes you wonder, are they really trying to sell their house and move, hoping that all this just goes away?
Because he wasn't talking to me or anybody on our team. He was talking to the Benny Keys and the Tim Mullins and the lovers and supporters of Don and Candace Wells. So again, not too concerned with that statement from him. Perfectly normal, perfectly legitimate statements. I would probably be really, my grits would be burnt if I had people all over the world calling in, asking me, and we discussed that early on about when we met with the law enforcement, that they were very concerned because people were asking, did you do helicopter searches and stuff? Like, they felt offended by that in the case because of the fact that, of course, they have. And they had divers out there. They don't need people giving them suggestions. They need leads. They need firsthand knowledge, people with firsthand knowledge, evidence of anything to do in and around the time that Summer Wells disappeared. And we've been an outspoken, supporter of getting them the proper leads, not phoning in speculation. We were very strong in saying we don't need any more speculation. At this point, speculation is gone. So I didn't take any offense to it. I do what I do, and that's what we do. So I didn't take offense to that. Other people should have been taking offense to it because, in all reality, they called in bogus leads. They called in bogus speculation, and shame on them. And long story short, from based upon the information we got, something happened to the water hole. She got water in her lungs. They loaded her up shortly after the event. They went to all these different places. She appeared fine. And then there's something called dry drowning or second drowning. And that's whenever you don't go and get medical attention. When you get water in your lungs, you can actually expire later. And then, of course, we see that video of the purpling of the cuticles, her hands swelling up, swelling on the side of her face. That's all indicative of her being dead or in the process of dying. And, obviously it was traumatic enough that Candace has PTSD-like symptoms when she goes down to that water hole. And Hunter has never been the same again, according to his entire family. So something happened at that water hole based upon what he told Chris McDonough. It sounds like a drowning. Okay. I think that Jody Sue, when she heard that scream, she heard Candace scream when she realized Summer was dead. She takes off like a bat out of hell, like in her own words, out of that driveway. And I think she goes and meets Don, and Don takes care of the rest. That's what we were able to piece together based upon people telling us that are close to the family, eyewitness testimony, again, firsthand knowledge of certain aspects. The rest were pieced together.
There is literally no possibility, none. The idea that this child was abducted, now that I have seen this property, is a farce. What I can tell you is maybe Candace didn't injure the child, but something happened. The child was unattended, may have came out of the house, may have been playing on their trike or their bike or the little push thing and pushed herself right off the mountain. Fell, hurt herself. We did hear that there was a scream earlier in the day. Maybe when mom realized that she hadn't seen the kids in a while, decided to go and check on them, realized that Candace was deceased and freaked out and did something with her body because she wasn't watching her child. She wasn't making sure her child was safe. And then we can go to the opposite end of the spectrum where she injured her child and the child met their demise that way. At the end of the day, when I came out here, I had this opinion that Candace was key. Being out here in person only solidifies the fact that I truly believe Candace is key in this whole entire thing. He knows we're in town. He knows we're not playing. We're screaming up there, calling him a murderer because they are responsible for that child's death. And then they hit her body, trying to evade law because they're manipulators, conniving, cunning, and should be in jail. With them painting their house and stuff, it makes you wonder, are they really trying to sell their house and move, hoping that all this just goes away? Yeah, I don't believe it. I really don't. God's son was nowhere around. I don't believe it. You couldn't make me believe it. Nope. I know who was responsible, and nobody murdered Summer Wells. Let's just nobody murdered her. Nobody went and killed her, strangled her, beat her to death. Not in my opinion. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. I pray for you. I truly do. I'm not joking. Because I fear what they're going to do to you in prison. But you are going to prison, and so is Candace. I have no doubt. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. We know that you did it. Your neighbors know that you did it. All the people in your inner circle know that you did it. Law enforcement knows you did it. The United States knows you did it. The world knows you did it. Outside of your little handful of friends, everyone knows you did it. Why don't you do yourself a favor and do the one thing right in your life for once? For once. For Summer. Tell us where she is. Where'd you put her? Please. Do one thing right in your whole life. Do it for Summer. I beg of you. You're not getting away with this crime. You're not.